Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Why Community Matters webinar series. Today we have with us Joel Birch, who's going to talk to us about building a sales funnel. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you. Thank you.
And also we have, of course, Joe from the Chicago Blockchain Project here as well. All right. Before we get started, I just want to tell you a little bit about your sponsors today, OmniSparks and the Chicago Blockchain Project. OmniSparks is a premier collaboration platform for crypto organizations to create and share value within their communities. For more information, visit omnisparks.io. The Chicago Blockchain Project is building an infrastructure for the city of Chicago, connecting builders with resources and investors. So let's get started with the webinar series today. So today we have Joel Birch. Joel is a former Grubhub head of sales development. He's a sales consultant and a crypto advisor. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you. That kind of sums it up. So just a quick introduction or background about me. For those who don't know, I go by Bitcoin Birch on twitter.com. I have a lot of fun blogging on that platform and talking about cryptocurrency. I also founded one of the largest communities within the cryptocurrency space, commonly referred to as Bravado. We've been operational since the middle of 2017. And primarily, we share just tons of free content on the cryptocurrency space, and we talk trading and everything else. Began investing in crypto in 2015. I was a big fan of playing blackjack online, which is a lot of fun, and I found BitStars, which was a casino that allowed you to gamble with cryptocurrency. I'd heard of crypto before that, I'd heard of Bitcoin beforehand, but it wasn't until that point that I actually decided to make a purchase. And it was only about 6 months later that I realized I was actually making money just by hodling Bitcoin, more so than I was by playing any type of, gambling online or playing blackjack or anything like that. So that's what really intrigued me. And I've basically spent all of my time in the 3 years since obsessing over multiple aspects of this space, from tech to trading. I've been a full-time trader for about 18 months. I've been trading for about 2 years, so I'm far from an expert. And my true passion is sales. And the reason I love the cryptocurrency space, Judy, is really because it's a startup economy. As you mentioned, I came from Grubhub. Grubhub went on to become a unicorn startup worth over $10 billion. So I was very fortunate to be a part of that journey and scaling that sales process for the nation's leader in online food delivery and online ordering, which was really exciting. And that's what I love about the crypto space, is that it reminds me of Silicon Valley at a global scale. It allows regular people like me to not only build exciting technologies, but invest in exciting startups, something that normally someone wouldn't be able to do. Right? Like, you couldn't invest in Uber right now, almost certainly, unless you have certain connections and everything else. And within the crypto ecosystem, the startup ecosystem that exists, that's what I'm here for. That's what I love. And so you mentioned I'm an advisor. Primarily what I work on with the 4 startup side buys is helping them scale sales. How do you take your idea from coin to revenue? Right? How do you take your idea from product to making sure people actually use it? Because ultimately that utility is what's going to be necessary for that coin to have any value whatsoever. And that's pretty much my main focus.
Okay, great. So Bitcoin Bravado, you brought it up.
Yeah.
Big community.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your strategies for building that community.
So I think what's really important to understand as you start to build a community, which is obviously what OmniSparks really helps people grow, is having your expectations appropriately set. So when I first launched Bravado, it was, and I think this is true for launching anything, it was because there was a couple things there were a couple truths. One truth is that I was obsessed with cryptocurrency and I loved learning about it. And the other truth was that I couldn't easily learn about it in a way that I could trust in early 2017. Going back 2015, 2016, there wasn't a lot of good resources. And as I started to learn how to trade, again, it was really tough for me to learn. So once I kind of figured out stuff for myself, my main focus when we launched Bravado was to be the largest free community in the space. We still maintain probably the highest engagement on the Telegram platform, even in this bear market, which has been unfortunate for any community. But what it was really focused on was just overwhelming people with content, overwhelming people with value, teaching people what we learned, and not focusing out of the gate on how to make money from that. Because what I learned in my experience with multiple startups was that when my focus was on the money, that I made decisions that I probably shouldn't have made, right? I might have forced a product out, or I might have spent too much time trying to fine tune some of the sales process and not enough time trying to fine tune the product itself, right? And making sure there's enough value there. And so for the first year that Bravado really existed, the primary focus was not how we can turn this into a business, but how can we continue to drive more value than anybody else in this space and overwhelm people with valuable content. If you can do that, the sales typically will follow. Right?
Okay, so talk us through that. So you have this very active community, and you're right, in the bear markets, we've heard a lot of crypto communities aren't as active anymore.
Yeah.
How have you turned that into sales, or how do you guys think about that now?
Yeah, so again, this comes back to overwhelming people with value, right? So if people are continually feeling that they're getting value from you, then they're going to look at what you have to offer. And I've always said what's important to me anyways is if you will at least give me a chance, if you'll at least look at what I have to offer, then I believe that my product is good enough that it can sell. So the biggest problem that people have when they do these things is they either don't put out very much content. So like in the context of a cryptocurrency company, or any of you entrepreneurs out there who are building a product, a lot of times you're focusing on building the product, but within the community, you're not teaching people things. You're not driving a lot of value. It's just always shilling, for lack of a better term, your product. You're always saying, here's why XYZ is better than this. Here's what we're trying to do differently. Here's all this. When instead, you should take a step back and understand your audience. In my case, it was crypto enthusiasts. So
that's your target. Your target is
crypto enthusiasts, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that my product, at least for Bravado, and I have several companies and do a couple different things, but at least just in the context of this crypto space, my product was not geared towards enthusiasts as much as it was geared towards traders. Traders is a much smaller niche of the crypto market, but I focused on my overwhelming demographic of crypto enthusiasts and said, how can I bring you value every single day? Not how can I tell you why Bravado is the best at bringing you value, not why we're going to be better, or that, what. It's just, how can I just continue to bring value? And then the 1 out of 10 outreach, right? The 1 out of 10 emails I send, the 1 out of 10 Telegram posts, the 1 out of 10 tweets, and in reality, it's closer to like 1 out of 100. I'm going to say, hey, if I provided you any value before, take a look at this for me. And if this is something that scratches an itch for you, if this is something that you think makes sense for you personally, I'd appreciate it if you take a look. And then again, because people have consistently gotten value from me, they're going to open that email. So when I'm doing an email campaign for any of the companies I advise, or multiple of the products that I've worked on, most of the emails that I'm sending, I'm doing in a couple different ways. One, we're automating that process, and we can circle back and talk about automation because it's really important. I'm automating that process, meaning I don't have to sit there and write emails every day and hit send. And I'll share a couple of tools with you guys on what we do that. So now I have an automated drip, and I like to call this lead nurturing. And I didn't make that up, but I call this lead nurturing, right? Because everybody in my network is a lead. They're a potential customer. Whether you buy something from me or not, I'm going to make sure I can overwhelm you with value. But again, and I'm going to nurture you. I'm going to continue to drip content to you. If you get an email from me and it's like, hey, check out this great free resource, and at the end of that email, I'm not trying to sell you anything. It's just, this is a great free resource. You're just, hey, thanks, Joel. Appreciate it. I'm going to email you. Again, it's going to be automated, but in another 2 or 3 days, you're going to get another email, right? And it's going to say, hey, did you know about this particular coin? Did you read about this? Check out what we're, whatever. Look at this write-up. Or commonly what we'll do in the Bravado communities, we'll do a write-up on an educational topic. Like one of our most popular ones was the difference between proof of work and proof of stake. That was it. Just putting out a write-up and saying, hey, did you know the difference between proof of work and proof of stake? Well, hey, we put together this detailed write-up. It's yours free. Take a look. Have a good day. But then on that 5th or 6th contact, right, I send them an email and they're going to open it because every single time consistently that they do, they get value. Now they're going to open it and say, hey, Joel here, I want you to check out this product that I'm selling, right? I don't say it like that, but I want you to check out what I'm working on. I think this would be really beneficial for you. If you're someone who wants to learn how to trade, check out trybravado.com. Go here and check this out. And overwhelmingly, those conversion numbers and those conversion rates are through the roof. And it all starts with at the very beginning. So just to wrap up on this point, my website might have a 30% conversion rate. So let's say that you have a landing page for your product, you're sending traffic to that website, and 30% of the people that land on that website give you information and enter you into your sales funnel. They become a potential sale for you down the road. It's actually pretty hard to move the needle on that conversion rate. It's pretty hard to go from 30 to 35 or to go from 20 to 30. It takes a lot of testing. It takes countless hours and thousands of hits to your website to fine tune that. So I'm not going to focus on trying to move that needle 5%. What I will focus on instead is I understand that if I'm just selling you via email every single time, or if every tweet or if every outreach is me trying to tell you how great my product is, I understand that only 10, 20, 30, whatever the number is, for example, let's say 25% of you are going to open my email. Well, if only 25% of you open it, I'm only going to get 100 hits. Yeah. I'm only going to get 100 hits to my website. And my website's going to convert at 30%. Now, if I spend all my time trying to get my website to convert at 35%, I'm still only going to get 100 hits. I'm going to get 5% more sales, potentially, because I convert at 5. But it's very hard to do that. Or what's very easy to do is get my open rate from 25% to 75%. And now that 75% of you are opening my email, 3 times as many people are landing on my website that has that same 30% conversion. I'm getting 3 times as many sales without actually getting any better at selling, without my product actually increasing its ability, without my product getting any better or without my process getting any better. I'm just getting more people to look at it. So the best way to do that is to overwhelm people with value. And we're seeing this more and more. If you guys follow someone like Gary Vaynerchuk, for example, he just puts it all out there. We give you our secrets. If you want to learn everything, there's a way to do it for free. And I'm going to make sure that if you're going to learn it for free, you're going to be able to get a ton of that from me. And then every once in a while, I can circle back and say, hey, this could be for you. And if it is, check it out. And because I have trust and because I have a transparency, I'm going to be able to send more people to my offer, and more people, therefore, are going to end up buying.
So how do you track people to kind of your website in the first place? So how do you get their emails to start up the process?
Well, yeah. So it all starts with, again, overwhelming people with content. That's going to be the main theme.
So on the channels.
Right. On the different channels, whether it's Twitter, Telegram, Reddit, Bitcoin Talk, YouTube, Facebook. There's a million different platforms out there to engage with your community. And if you're engaging and you're talking to people, here's what you got to remember. The average person who's potentially your client, right? So the average potential bravado client, or the average potential person who's going to invest in my fund, or whatever the case may be, they have 300 followers, maybe 20 or 50. They get 2 likes on a post. If you're one of those likes and you're one of those comments, they're going to read it, right? And if it's genuine, they're going to interact with you. And if you do that enough times, 90% of them are just going to not see it or ignore. But if you do that enough times, that 10% is going to funnel up and say, what is OmniSparks? Who's this Judy that keeps talking to me from OmniSparks? And you can automate most of this interaction, by the way. So you can use tools and softwares to do that.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What tools do you use for that?
Yeah, so OmniSparks is actually a great tool. Full disclosure, I'm actually an advisor to OmniSparks, and we're building some really great community management tools. But I use drip.io and sendinblue.com for automated email marketing. So everyone knows about MailChimp and some others like that, or HubSpot. So I don't want to come on here and just be like, oh, MailChimp. MailChimp's great, but what I've actually found is Drip and Sendinblue, the reason I like them in particular is because they allow you to drag and drop your automation. So what that means is you can go through and write 10 emails. And again, remember, we're focusing on making sure that of these 10 emails, 7 of them are overwhelming value. 7 of them are, how can I teach you about this? How can I give this to you for free? How can I introduce you to somebody new? What can I do to bring value in the 5 minutes that I'm going to get in your inbox? How can I bring you value? I'm going to write all those ahead of time. That content doesn't change. And then the other 3 emails are going to be selling my product to you in one way, shape, or form. With a Sendinblue or a Drip, and no, I haven't been sponsored or paid by them to mention them. It's just products I use. You can write up all those emails. You can drag and drop them into their automation. You can say, send email 1 and then wait 2 days and send email 2 and then wait 4 days and send email 3, and you can build out that and hit go. And when people are subscribing to your process, they're going to be dripped that content over time. There's also a product called Tweetful. And Tweetful allows you to automate your interaction on social media. So if you're a brand out there, if you're someone who owns a brand or has a brand, you should use a service like this. Otherwise, it becomes very overwhelming and time consuming, though it can be done, to automatically engage with different people that are talking about different things that are talking about crypto or trading or community management or what have you, based on keywords and things of that nature. So just do a Google search for some different tools out there. There's definitely a ton, but automating it is key because it allows you to do it at a much more efficient level.
So we got a comment from the people watching that there's a lot of custom open source bots on GitHub too. If you take the time to set up a server, and some are one-click setup on Heroku.
Very cool. Yeah. So yeah, great. And I encourage you to DYOR as with anything and try to find a solution that works for you personally. But the overarching theme is automate it and overwhelm people with value. If you continue to drive that value, and
so how do you know it's valuable?
Well, in my opinion, again, if you know your demographic, and that's the most important part when you start your new company, right? Is I got to identify who I'm trying to sell to. And sometimes people, they over niche it. They go too narrow. You want to try to zoom out, and you want to try to say, like, all right, for instance, like in the bear market right now, my demographic isn't, for my trading product, isn't just crypto traders, and it isn't crypto enthusiasts. The bigger and better demographic for me is actually Forex and binary options traders, because that industry has been around for 1,000 years and there's millions of them. There's massive demographic. And because these people are already in the mindset of trying to trade to make money, they may very well be interested in crypto. So you don't want to get too niche. But once you've identified your demographic, then you should have a decent idea of what they're interested in, be it crypto, be it trading, be it technology, be it startups, be it community management, be it whatever it might be. And when you have that demographic, all that you need to do, because remember, you're the one in the position of power. You're the one with the brand. You're the one with the product to sell. So presumably you're the one who knows what they don't. You're the one who has information that they don't have. For me personally, I'll always say I'm only an expert in one thing, and that's sales. I'm not an expert in crypto. I'm not an expert in trading. I'm good at some of these things, but I'm only an expert in sales. This is what I know, and this is what I know better than most people. So if you subscribe to me personally because you're interested as an entrepreneur in learning how to sell more, I'm going to make sure that 7 out of 10 of my emails are coming to you versus on how you can learn how to sell more. All object, urgency, trust, or money. NUT and then S for money. That's just like one example. I might send an email that says, hey, did you know that all objections are nuts? Open that. And then I talk to you about, hey, you're probably trying to overcome 50 different objections in your sales process, but did you know that all of those 50 can be boiled down into just 4? They're either telling you no because they don't need it right now, they don't trust you or believe you, or it's too much money. Need, urgency, trust, or money. That might be an example of an email. That's great. Good to know. Have a good day. And then when I email them tomorrow with, whatever, again, same thing. So how do you know you're providing value? Well, you give the people what they want. You give them what you might be currently thinking of charging for, potentially even. You can give them a lot of that for free. And then, again, build that trust and transparency leading into your bigger product.
Yeah, great. So is the content all on email, or are you writing blogs? How are you?
Great question. So you want to go where your customers live, right? I have a lot of email subscribers, about 17,000 email subscribers, 50,000 followers on Twitter, 40,000 followers on Telegram, a couple thousand on YouTube. You want to be everywhere, right? And so, again, utilizing some of these automation tools like OmniSparks, quick shout out, just so happens to work out that way. By using some of these different tools, you're essentially able to write one post, write one email, and have it automatically post to Telegram, automatically post to Twitter, automatically post wherever, right? Another thing, as an example, right? I do a podcast. So as a part of putting this content out, and we do it for free, obviously. We just want to share what we know. We're talking crypto every day. We want to talk about crypto.
All right, share the name of the podcast.
It's called Crypto Live. You can look it up on Spotify or iTunes or YouTube. Just search Bitcoin Bravado or Crypto Live with Bitcoin Bravado. It's a 3 times a week podcast. But when we share a lot of this content, what we'll do is we'll take a clip, right, a 2-minute clip, and we'll put it on Twitter with a 2-minute clip, and then with a call to action underneath that says subscribe on iTunes. We'll take a video of that podcast, a video version, we'll upload it to YouTube. We'll take a transcript of that podcast, here are things we talked about, and we'll put it on Facebook. And then we'll go ahead and throw in Telegram, hey, we just put out a free, And so taking content, to answer your question, it's not one platform. Those emails I write, I can take different versions of that same content, repurpose it and put it on Twitter. I can repurpose it and put it on Telegram, or I can put it on my website or my blog or write a Medium post about it. And a lot of times it's just recycling content. A couple guys that I know who are successful in this space, they take their exact same tweets that have high engagement, and then they go into popular Facebook groups and they post them there too. and they get more engagement there. It's a hustle. It's a hustle. That's why most entrepreneurs, and most businesses will fail, because ultimately there is a lot of moving parts. But if you truly believe in what you're doing and you're really trying to overwhelm people with value and becoming someone that people can trust, they're going to buy your product from you.
Yeah, so I like that. So it's really about that reuse. You don't have to put forth so much effort.
No.
Maximize your effort or minimize your effort for get the best bang for your buck. When it comes
Absolutely. A lot of people say, well, I don't know what content to come up with. Well, there's a couple schools of thought there. One, maybe you shouldn't be creating the content then, and that's okay. I think a lot of people have to understand that maybe you shouldn't create crypto content if you don't know what you're talking about or if you don't have a true passion for it. And a lot of people we saw in the last year get into this space because they thought they could make money. And ultimately, those people have been weeded out. There's only so many of us who are still here every day operating in this space. Ultimately, to your point, you can make one piece of content and you can multiply it by 8. There's tons of social platforms, and all you have to do for Instagram is create a little picture that goes with that content. For YouTube is create a 2-minute video that goes with that content. For Twitter is 140 characters that goes with that blog post link. And then it's all just on a blog post. Yeah. So write one blog post and now you have 7 pieces of content.
Yeah, it's so much easier than writing 7 totally different.
You can also, I'm a big fan and big proponent of the gig economy. I'm a huge fan of using freelancers. I think the gig economy is going to only continue to grow, and it's going to be huge. It's already huge. It's multi-billions of dollars. $75, you can get an article written, a decent quality article written. For $50, you can get someone on Fiverr to do, to help you with a lot of these different things. So you can outsource with a low budget. I started my business with no money, spent 6 months doing nothing but overwhelming people with content before I decided to start monetizing some of it.
All right, so you set up your email stream, you're writing content, you have some people who convert to become customers.
Right.
How do you keep them paying?
Yeah, so if you have a subscription-based business, if you have a software as a service or a subscription as a service, a SaaS style business, churn is going to be it's the most important thing for you to pay attention to. Because if you get 100 people, and this is what I've seen countless times in the crypto space, where you take a influencer and they sell some specific type of product, right? They'll get 100 sales on day one because they've never sold a product before, and so their whole following is like, oh great, and they all buy it. And then half of them drop off the next month, and they're still shilling it. But what they don't realize is that you're saturating your following, and eventually, if you shill something enough times, like everyone's seen it, and the people who want to buy it have bought it. And so a lot of you can only win so much on retention. We'll get to that in a second. You have to continue to keep the front of the funnel full, and that's going to require you to go out and spread beyond your followers on Twitter or beyond your followers on Telegram. You're going to have to go out and create these new content streams to get more people on the front end. So you're going to have people churn off. The most important thing I've learned about managing a large community, keeping people, is communication. If someone has bought something from you, there's 2 things you absolutely have to win. Number 1 is onboarding. People think the sale stops at the sale. That's the easy part. I can sell anything to anyone. I truly believe that. So the trouble is keeping them there, because if you have a subscription business, especially, keeping them there so that way their LTV or their lifetime value increases and becomes something that's actually going to be profitable for you. So you need to have a low churn. You need to have people who actually stick around. The onboarding is extremely important. If you have a tech product, especially, if someone signs up, and I did this just the other day, I went through the free trial process, right? Because every tech product in the world, they use the same model, which is sign up, get 7 days for free, and then you can cancel if you don't like it, right? So I signed up, 7 days for free. Within 30 seconds of being admitted access to the platform, I went to the account page, hit cancel, closed it, and never went back. Because within 30 seconds, I landed on a screen after putting in my credit card information, and I didn't know where the hell to go. I didn't know what to do. And I was just overwhelmed, and I was done. And we're in a space where we all live on this, right? We all have this. This is right. Our attention spans are getting shorter by the day. Our patience is getting shorter. We have places to be. So you have to onboard your clients appropriately. That includes when they land on your website, making sure they know where to go. When they've signed up, making sure they know what to do to get what they need. Otherwise, they're gone from day one. If you can own onboarding, the next piece is communication, like I said.
Yeah.
And communication basically means that if you have a paying customer, especially in a monthly service product, they shouldn't only be hearing from you once a week or once a month, like when you have an update, right? If you're building a blockchain project, your community shouldn't be hearing from you once a quarter via Medium when you've made an update. They should be hearing from you daily. They should be having some place, and depending on the platform, hourly, right? If you want up-to-the-minute updates all the time, follow us on Twitter. If you want daily updates, follow us on Telegram. If you want bi-weekly updates, subscribe to our email. And you should use those different platforms differently. So my email list might hear from me 2 or 3 times a week, right? Where my Telegram will hear from me once a day. As you guys know who follow me on Twitter, you hear from me 30 times a day on Twitter. And that communication is extremely important to keep that there, and not just saying, oh, I got the sale, now they're on my website, and they'll get an email. Now they need to, even once the sale is done, they need to be fed that content continuously, so they always know that they have someone they can turn to. So they always know where they can go to get questions answered. So they always feel like they're being involved. Not just like when you have an update, right? And certainly not just when you want to sell something. And that's the biggest problem I see some of these communities make, is like, I only hear from you when you want me to buy something from you. And the reality is, I don't trust you. There's not enough transparency there. You need to overwhelm people with that content.
Okay, great. So anything else about kind of holding on to those people once they come in? Stopping churn. So we have communication, onboarding, key, and communication. Anything else?
Well, customer service can kind of be tied into a couple of these different, like into communication, but it's not just outward communication. It's not just being proactive. You have to be very reactive as well. And a lot of people are really bad at being reactive. So they'll get they don't have a good system for managing any type of customer support. So when I first rolled out my trading community, which is a small part of my overarching, what we do with our trading community is a lot more for fun than it is for money. My other businesses take more priority, and they're not even crypto specific. But what we did was, even though we just had a Discord group, we still made sure that we had an online portal for customer service. That was something that no other Discord group in the entire cryptocurrency space had whatsoever, right? And so it was very simple. You go to xyz.com/help. And when you did that, it was a system that I paid $6 a month for at the time. Now I think I paid $90 a month for the whole system. It's called Kartra.com. But when you do that, and this is a system that allows you to build sales funnels, landing pages, email campaigns, all this stuff. But when you do that,
another tool, Kartra.
Yeah, Kartra.com, another tool.
Okay.
And again, another free trial that you can check out. Drag and drop, build websites, cool stuff like that. Is giving them a really easy way to get in touch with you if they have a problem. And it's more than the proactive stuff, right? You got to be reactive as well. I need you to know that if you need help, you click on this link and you can live chat with me during these hours, and you can submit a ticket during these hours. And having accountability within your organization, saying that if someone submits a ticket, we have a promise to our customers to get back to them within 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours. It doesn't even matter what that time frame is, as long as you're transparent with it. That goes back to the transparency piece. Tell your community member when they submit a support ticket or they ask a question, we'll get back to you within 12 hours, and then do it. Get back to them within 12 hours. Set the expectation. And so doing little things like that, right? Communication, customer service, those things are going to help you obviously decrease churn tremendously. Even if people have a bad experience, you'll find that they will stay because they trust that you're going to do everything in your power to make sure it's a better experience. After all, they signed up for a reason, right?
Right.
They gave you money or signed up or submitted to your newsletter or followed you on YouTube for a reason. And ultimately, if they leave, it doesn't mean that's where it dies either. So to finalize the piece on churn, when someone cancels, they shouldn't just go into your FU bin, FU standing for follow-up, by the way. They shouldn't just go into like, all right, these guys canceled. If you cancel, there should be a whole process in place that says, okay, fine. First of all, if you're going to cancel, I'm a believer that if you have someone who wants to cancel, you should make it easy for them to cancel.
Yeah.
You can't make it too easy. Okay, there are certain conversions that you need to take into consideration. But if you want to go, I'm going to let you go. I'm not going to because if you have let's say you had a shit onboarding experience, excuse my French, you had a bad onboarding experience, you had a bad product experience, but you had a great offboarding experience. When you came to me and said, you know what, it's not working out, and I said, I'm sorry, we didn't provide. We didn't do what we needed to do. We didn't answer those questions. Here's how you get out. I wish you the best. It's gonna stick with them. They say, you know what? All right, not so bad. And then what? Well, 7 days later, they're gonna get an email. Hey, I know you left last week, but we'd love to have you back. Here's a free trial. Here's a discount. Here's a free month. What can we do to make it better, right? And you can slowly introduce yourself back into those people's streams and see what people you can bring back. And again, you can automate almost all of that. And if you do these little things right, you're going to beat everybody else. I know that for a fact because people aren't doing these things. This much thought is not going into these consumer. It's really all bundled into UX, which stands for user experience. I'm sure you see that buzz thrown around, UI or UX. UI is user interface. That's important, but nothing is more important than UX. Nothing is more important than that user's experience from the time they first see your offer, which hopefully is for free and getting value, to the time they pull out their credit card, or the time they download your wallet, or the time they do whatever, to the time they decide to leave. And making sure that every part of that process is something that they can think back on and say, I had a good experience. Even if the product wasn't for me or what have you, then you're going to have someone who's going to tell their friends about you. You're going to continue to do these things right, and you're going to win every single time.
Okay, great. So if anyone has any questions, please put them in the chat box. But Joel, you've done a great job of talking us through the sales funnel, from how do I attract customers to kind of getting them interested to signing up to even kind of as they, keeping them involved.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, any other step that we've missed or anything else you want to add to the discussion?
Well, there's only so much you can cover, and I want everything to stick, so I don't want to overwhelm you. Happy for sure to do this on multiple other occasions, especially if there's good feedback as a result of just the 25 minutes that we've had. But I do want to stress what I've learned as an entrepreneur, and I've built one 7-figure business, had another, with Grubhub go public, which was exciting. So I've had some moderate success. I'm still learning every single day. I'm still a young guy who's trying to find my way just like everybody else. But one thing that I think I've unequivocally learned and come to understand is that if I make my focus about the money, I'm not going to get the money. It's not going to be as easy to get the money. That's just something that I've learned. I had multiple startups that failed, multiple ideas that were great ideas that I was trying to solve, that I still believe are great ideas. Problem was, I started those companies and those ideas because I thought it could make me money. I thought if I could solve mobile payments at bars, I could make a ton of money. And I still believe that's to be true. The problem is I don't go to bars, I don't drink. So I spent a year trying to build a product, right, to solve mobile payments at bars, to make it easy for you to close your tab and walk out the door, something I still think needs to be done. I don't go out and I don't drink. So that was a huge problem. I didn't know anyone in the bar scene. Right. So I was trying to solve a problem for the money and not for the passion. So I think that if you're an entrepreneur, or if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you're someone who's like, I kind of want to start a business, I think the most important first aspect is, well, again, how can I provide value? Before, how can I make money from providing value? How can I provide value doing something I truly do love, solving a problem I'm truly passionate about solving? And if you focus on that and you spend 6 months and say, all I'm going to do for 6 months is just overwhelm people with value in this niche about this thing, I promise that by the end of that 6 months, you'll have a moment where you say, oh, that's how I can make money from this.
Yeah.
And then when you attempt to make money from it, it'll work, because you'll have these people who legitimately get value from that service. And all the people who don't buy from you, they still get that same love. They're still hearing from you.
Yeah. It's right. Great. And they might eventually be customers.
And eventually one day they might be a customer. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. That is something I like to say publicly.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for the time.
Of course.
We really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Our next presentation will be in 2 weeks, February 27th, where Sandra from Democracy Earth is going to talk about how they're leveraging community to help rebuild democracy or improve democracy. Joel, just let everyone know how they can reach out to you.
Yeah, so I love interacting with individuals. So if you use Twitter, I'm Bitcoin Birch at Twitter. If you don't use Twitter, I'm also Bitcoin Birch on other platforms as well, like Instagram. So definitely come say hi, ask me questions. I'm very interactive. I tweet a lot. It's not always great, but I tweet a lot.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, everybody.
Cheers.
Bye.